This is Bible Prophecy Lesson number 162. It's Sunday, January the 21st. Is it 2018 now?
Yes, it is.
Oh, man. Boy, time is going by fast. Well, today we're going to do first fruits, also known as Yom HaBikarim. And it's, well, there's Passover, there's unleavened bread, and the day after the weekly Sabbath during unleavened bread is first fruits. There's some interesting ramifications we'll go into about that. We got a sign of the times, we'll do a scripture of the day, and then we'll do first fruits. But after the sign of the times, ALMAZ is going to tell us how he came to Christianity, which ought to be an interesting story. We'll review Pentecost here real quickly because I got these two out of order. Pentecost, also known as Shavuot, or the Feast of Weeks. Shavuot is the day after 7 Sabbaths after the weekly Sabbath during the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Now, is that complicated enough for you? Now, the Orthodox Jew count the days between first fruits and Shavuot, and this is called counting the Omer. Omer meaning sheaf. Shavuot is the first fruits of, oh, I got that wrong. Shavuot is the first fruits of the wheat harvest. Somebody,
You made it here. You made it here.
The person that was supposed to check that, I think it must have been my wife. She must have missed it.
That woman got it. Whatever happens.
I guess I should read what I write before I read what I wrote. There are two grains highlighted during the two annual feasts of the Lord. They're barley and wheat. And the two grains imply two types of people who are going to be involved in the harvest. Those who are in the kingdom and those who are kings and priests of the kingdom. So that pretty much summarizes Pentecost. Any questions about it? Everybody's perfectly happy with that.
In other words, it's 50 days after Pentecost.
It's 50 days after first fruits.
Not Pentecost?
That's Pentecost. It's 7 sevens plus 1.
Okay, well, yeah, don't confuse me.
It's all so confusing. So that's the, let's see, Passover, unleavened bread, first fruits. So Shavuot is the fourth, and the third is what we're going to do today, which is first fruits. But before we do first fruits, this is a Muslim refugee in Sweden. She had a horrible life, to say the least. She was married at 16, had 2 children. Her husband was killed in a car wreck. Then she married another Muslim who beat her. And her life became so miserable, she tried to take her own life with sleeping pills, and that didn't work. And one day, a missionary came to the door with the Bible. And she dismissed him. She didn't want any more religion. This religion was about to kill her the way it was. And so, well, later on, her life sunk to the degree that she was reaching out for any and everything. And one day she just prayed to Jesus for help. And guess what? Her prayers were answered. And she became a voice for the Lord in Iran. Well, it wasn't Iran then, she moved to Sweden. But in Sweden, she had a ministry that has converted over 1,500 Muslims to the Lord. And it was, well, needless to say, when the Lord calls, you answer, right? And just to refresh your memory, John Calvin's Tulip, which summarizes his philosophy of our relationship with the Lord, which I think is very accurate. And that is, first off, we are all totally depraved people. There there is no one on the face of planet Earth that merits salvation of his own works. We all fall short, and to fail the law in a single point is to fail the law. You failed. Therefore, there requires something and someone to balance the, what is that?
Scale.
Scale. Thank you. Always need some help here. So, with this understanding, there is no such thing as a little white sin or a big black sin. It's all sin. We tend to compartmentalize it, and I know when I grew up, if you had a little private white sin, well, you confess that to the Lord. If you had a big old black one out here, everybody saw it, well, you had to come forward and confess that one to a whole congregation. Any sin not confessed constitutes a failure to, failure of salvation, and you go to hell. That's the way I brought it up. Consequently, because when you're small, you believe all this stuff. And I said to myself, there is no hope. I knew I was a sinner, and I didn't confess all my sins. I couldn't even remember all my sins. How am I going to confess them all? Just ask my wife. She confesses a lot of my sins for me, because I can't remember them. So the tulip, yeah, we're all totally depraved. Unrestricted election, that's God. He can elect whoever he wants. He can take people that are devout Muslims and bring them to himself, can he not? Limited atonement. Salvation is not for everyone. There are some people, and I'm sure we've all had that experience, you try to testify to the Lord, they cannot hear, they cannot see. You might as well be talking to a brick wall. There are some people you just can't, well, there is no atonement for them. 20?
He had difficulty spelling today.
See, my editor back there missed that.
Golly.
Girl, you're falling down on your job.
You can't believe how many times I tried to spell irresistible. Gary and I together, two brains, we'd still probably have wrong. Well, the I is irresistible grace. When grace comes to you, you can't turn it down. It's the Holy Spirit, when he's calling, you are going to answer. You don't have any choice in the matter. You may think you do. You may think that you've become a Christian just by random chance. You haven't. And then finally, persistence of the saints. Once you have become aware of the fact there is a God and that he is calling you, you persist and you do things that you wouldn't have done otherwise. And you continue on in this life and doing what you can for the kingdom, recognizing that at some point in time we will all give an account, and it will be an accounting of reward. We will not appear at an accounting for the wicked, because the wicked are going to undergo judgment also. But that judgment is a judgment of, are you going to make it or are you not going to make it? And you will not be kings and priests, you make it into the kingdom. In fact, we have evidence in the scripture from Christ's own words that if you are really devout in the law, know the law, keep the law, those who keep it really close and teach it really good, they are higher in the kingdom than those who don't do either. So in that one place, it expresses the idea that there are classes of people in heaven. But these are people in the kingdom. Priests and kings, they have a place in the New Jerusalem. There is no evidence that people who keep and teach the law have a place such as that. So there is an amazing promise made to those of us who are Christians of being priests and kings. You get that mansion, and I'm sure Gary's is going to have a fishing pond in the background. So you can go back there and fish, and he will cook fish for you anytime you want to come over to his mansion. Yep.
Right.
So,
Isn't that awesome? Oh, yeah. Special boat.
So this concept of John Calvin's, I have a hard time finding any fault with it. He has, with this acronym, has encompassed what I believe to be true Christianity, true salvation. And those who have come out of other organizations, you know, you will find them beating you over the head with your sins and your iniquities and demanding certain things that the Bible never demands in order for you to reconcile yourself to the Lord. But once again, once he calls, there is no turning back. You can't. And if you don't believe that, you know, he can call whomever he wants from wherever he wants, just ask ALMAZ. ALMAZ, tell us your story. Stand over here if you would.
Have a stand?
Anywhere close to this thing would be fine.
Okay. Well, you guys want a long version of it? Or the short version?
We want to have only how many minutes? I don't know how many minutes I have.
All the time you want.
45 minutes. All right, so I'm gonna have to cut it down because I can do it for 2 hours. So I'm just gonna cover, I guess, the main points. So I don't know if everybody knows, I grew up in Central Asia, a little country called Kyrgyzstan. Not everybody knows about this place. When I say Kyrgyzstan over here, everybody seems to think Kurdistan, somewhere in Iraq over there. You know, have you heard Kurdistan? When I say Kyrgyzstan, they're like, "Oh, you're from Iraq?" Like, no, I said I'm from Kyrgyzstan. They're like, Kurdistan is part of Iraq, right? Like, no, it's not part of Iraq. Well, maybe Kurdistan is, but Kyrgyzstan is not. It used to be part of Soviet Union. And I grew up in Soviet Union too, until it collapsed in 1989, 1991. So I grew up in a family back in Soviet Union time. It was more like a, what would you call it? Atheistic. We really didn't believe in God. I mean, even our country is more based out of Islamic Muslim country. Everybody just thinks like, I guess there are some European countries like that too. If you're born there, you're automatically Christian. If you're born German, you're automatically Christian. I don't know. I heard that too. But in Kyrgyzstan, that's how everybody considers. So if you're born in Kyrgyzstan, if you're Kyrgyz, you're automatically Muslim. Even if I have no idea what the Muslim is, I never knew anything. But I really didn't care at that time. When I was growing up, we really didn't think about God or anything like that. We just lived our lives and did whatever we thought is right. And that's how we grew up. Then, until I became a little older in my early teenage lives, I lost one of my really close friends on a car accident. And that happened very interesting way, which is still these days, I can still look back to it and think about it. Wow, that was pretty. Even before I knew God, even before I knew even Jesus existed, God led me to it through that experience. Because if I didn't have that experience, I don't know where would I be today. Because I probably would have taken different direction in my life, like everybody else over there do. Because not very many people over there become Christian. Very few. And because the way we looked at the Bible and Christians, we looked at, no, that's just Germans and Russians' God. It's not nothing to do with us. Our God is something else. Our God is Allah. That's how we thought. Like if we needed God, we're gonna turn to Allah. We're not gonna turn to some Russian God, because that's that other nationality. Like if I'm Russian, that's a different story. Then I would probably go to Jesus. That's how we thought. That was our understanding, because nobody else told us otherwise. And when I was younger, I had a motorcycle. We used to ride a lot of motorcycles. And that's how we grew up. It was the fun and coolest thing to do at the time. We used to decorate our motorcycles and just go out to the street and ride and show off to everyone. And that's how we did. And I grew up in a little town, maybe like 10,000, 15,000 people there. This is not really a big town, but everybody knew each other basically. It was a German town, but there was a lot of Kyrgyz people as well. There's a lot of Germans that lived there since like Queen Ekaterina, I think. The Russian Queen Ekaterina, I don't know if you heard of her. She's the queen that I think she sent a lot of Baptist Germans from Germany to Central Asia because her plan was she wanted to civilize Central Asia from barbaric life because they were having too much conflict over there because I guess wars, resistance. So she thought, well, if I'll bring these Germans over there with their beliefs and civilization, maybe I can control the Central Asians. So she sent lots of German, mostly Baptist families from German area. I guess at that time, Ekaterina, I guess Russia somehow controlled that area, and they moved lots of them into and that happened a long time ago. I think that happened like in 1700s, because they lived there for a couple hundred years, and they were pretty well settled. And the town that I grew up is mostly Germans. At the beginning, it was like 90% Germans, and mostly Baptists too, because they built churches. And so I grew up seeing those Germans every Sunday. They all dress up with their black books and go somewhere. It's like we used to think that's a weird people. They always dress up on Sunday. It's really nice, and they have this black book and they go somewhere. Okay, we got used to seeing it. And but I never really thought about it because they never really shared with us, or they never really told us anything, because they're not really allowed to do so. Because if they do, and government find out, they can get arrested and sent to jail. Because they were not allowed. They were allowed to practice their faith in their church only. That's it. They were not allowed to share with anyone. And our government would send people to their meetings to make sure they follow the rules. And if they fail it, and quite a bit of them got sent to jail too. There's some pastors, there's some people over there who broke those rules, and they preached to to locals, to other people, and they got sent to jail for that. And a lot of people were afraid. So I understand they had a reason that they were afraid. Like, okay, we just keep it to ourselves. And some of them quietly sometimes did it too, because some of them apparently did share it to my dad. Because my dad worked with a bunch of Germans where he worked, and apparently some of his friends, German friends that worked with him, apparently did share it with him. And quietly they were kind of breaking it to him and at that time he really didn't understand what they were trying to say, but I guess they were preparing him for it. So one day we had a birthday to go with my friends, and it was in like a neighboring town. I think it was maybe on the kilometers. It was about 30 kilometers away. I don't know, like 10 miles away. And we were like, okay, we're gonna decorate our bicycles, motorcycles, and we're gonna go over there. And there was 3 of our friends who were supposed to go there. And we were at my house getting ready, and we all dressed up and getting ready and come outside, and we tried to start our motorcycles. And for some reason, my motorcycle would not start. You know, I had a motorcycle, you turn the key and you have to kick it really hard to get it started. And usually, that motorcycle is in perfect condition. Usually it starts right up. But that time, my motorcycle just kicked it once, 2, 3, like, what is wrong with it? It won't start. I'm thinking like, wow, time is getting late, we gotta go. My friend's like, just jump onto my motorcycle, we'll just go together. I'm like, no, you just go ahead and go. I'm gonna have to fix my motorcycle. I'll catch up with you. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. It's up to you. We'll see you there. So they took off, and they took off with motorcycle, and they had my friend and another friend. There's two motorcycles. They took off. So after they left, maybe like within 5 minutes, somehow after I looked around, I didn't do anything. I didn't really fix anything. I just looked around, moved stuff around, and like, what is wrong with it? Then I just kicked it and started right up. Okay, that's interesting. So I just jump on, like, okay, I'm ready to go. So I started driving. So I'm driving really fast, going down the road, and I see from the distance there was an intersection like this. There's a really big highway that crosses through, and then a little small road comes from my town and ends at that highway, and I was supposed to turn right to go to the town. So I was coming really fast, and I saw this bunch of people at the corner, but at the big intersection, bunch of people and a bunch of cars stopped. I'm thinking, wow, what's going on over there? Usually you don't see a bunch of people or traffic on that small area like that. And I slowed down my motorcycle and I tried to go around, and I stopped, tried to go around. I couldn't really go around, and I stopped, tried to walk my motorcycle, and I saw my friend's motorcycle like in the middle of the road, in the middle of that big highway. Like, I don't know, just laying on the sideways, just laying on there. I'm looking at what's going on, and I couldn't really see. And then I got closer, and I saw my friend was like laying in the middle of the road. And my other friend was just sitting on the side of the road with his head down. I walked up and I'm like, oh, what's going on? And he couldn't really tell me anything. And then that's when I understood, because there was a truck on the side of the road. Apparently he got hit by a truck on an intersection. And that was the friend that was telling me that I should just jump on with him and go with him. So yeah, he passed away. He apparently got killed immediately on that intersection, on that accident. He got hit pretty bad, and that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad for me. I started thinking, wow, I should have been with them right there. I could have been with them right there, but somehow I fell behind for 5 minutes, and this has happened, and just that situation making me started to think. I mean, before that, I had this life. I never thought about anything. Just lived my life, had fun. But from that point, I started thinking, well, I could have died that day with my friend. So, what would have happened to me? Where would I go if I die? Is there another life after that, or just that's an end of it? So, I mean, I really didn't know the answer for my own questions. Like, I don't know. Well, the best way to find out, I guess I'll just go talk to. I'll go to a mosque. There was a mosque in our village, and there was they get together once a week, and they study the Quran. And I knew they were there, but I never really went there. So I'm like, well, and I told my dad, I want to go to mosque. I want to go talk to Moldo. Moldo is like a pastor of the mosque. I want to go talk to Moldo. And my dad's like, why? Like, well, I want to follow the God. I want to see. I want to know. I have questions. I want to know what happens after life. And I was like, okay, whatever. You can do whatever. So I started going there and started studying the Quran, and I would drive that Moldo crazy every day. I would ask him questions. Hey, look, if I died today, where would I go? I mean, I'm trying to read the Quran, trying to understand, trying to follow Allah, but I still can't get an answer. So he's like, well, I think it'll be good for you if you come and join our studies. They were setting up a madrasa. Madrasa is a college, like a school, to prepare the people, the future leaders of mosques. It's like a Bible school, I guess. And they were setting up a little school like that in my town. They're like, well, he says you can come join the school. I said, okay. If that gets me an answer, I'll join the school. So I started studying in the school every day. I started going there. After my regular school, I would go over there to study in that school, that madrasa. You know, we studied Quran from beginning to the end. We would study it every day. We'd learn how to pray in Arabic, all this. I mean, we started learning a lot of stuff. But even then, after studying for a whole year, even then I didn't get any clear answer. You know, the Islam only tells you so far about what happens to you after you die. I don't know if anybody heard of it, if any Muslims ever told you what happens to them after they die. Yeah, there are some stories or legends, or I don't know, there's some misinterpretations out there between Muslims. Say, well, if you die, you go to heaven, and if you did enough good, you will get 40 virgins or whatever. There's some stories, but in reality, there's nothing like that in Quran. In Quran, it mostly talks about scale. That when you die, Allah will put your good deeds into the scale and see how it works out against your bad deeds. And if your good deeds overweighs, then you get a prize from him. You go into heaven and you get whatever you wanted. Basically, you'll get what do you call it? You'll get a prize from him for it. Yeah, reward. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. You get rewarded for it. And that kind of really didn't satisfy me, that kind of answer. Like, really? I live all my life. I would follow this and I would live this life as a Muslim and restrict myself from all those funds I could have. And only answer I get is, yeah, maybe your good deeds overweigh your bad deeds. Maybe you might go to heaven. I'm like, nah, that's not enough for me. I don't want to live my life like you guys, just with the idea that maybe I go to heaven. Then I don't want to find out after I die if my good deeds are good enough. So then I started searching more, and what caught my interest in the Quran, there is a little verse in the Quran. We call it surah. There's a little verse. Surah is basically a verse, because the Quran is also divided into verses. I don't think it's divided into chapters. It's divided into sections, and it's divided into verses. We call it a surah. And there is a surah that talks about, let me see, there's a 1, 2, 3, I think it talks about 4 different books. And on there it says, I mean, I'll just do a rough translation to English. What I understood, that verse said, the person who does not believe and accept and follow Torah, Injil, Torah, Zabur, Injil, and Quran, the person is a lost person, and the person is a unclean person. That's what it says on there. And I'm thinking, we got the Quran, it's right there, that's good. But what the heck is Injil, Zabur, and Torah? I don't have that. And it clearly says over here, if I don't accept and follow those, then I'm not a clean person. Then I started asking the questions I took my Quran to my teacher, like, hey, look, we have the Quran, and Quran itself says, Injil, Torah, Zabur. Where are those books? I wanna study those. And he was like, well, what it is those books no longer exist. It says that Those books were given by God, by Allah, a long time ago, before Quran, but they were corrupted by few people. People could not follow them, and they were destroyed. They were people changed them. People destroyed them. They changed them. They no longer exist. That's why Allah gave us His last message. That's the Quran. So you only need to worry about Quran. I said, well, that's interesting. I mean, and then I started asking him, so is Allah Almighty? He was like, yeah, He's Almighty. He can do everything. Well, if Allah is Almighty, how's His word not Almighty? So how's His word get destroyed or changed or whatever? That drove him crazy. He got angry. He's like, no, just go. You ask too much questions. Oh, whatever. Okay. Then I just continued on. I was still in that classes in the college, studying it. I kind of stopped asking questions from him. So one day he's like, "Hey, Almas, come here. I want to tell you something." I was like, "Okay." He's like, "We have this Mufti. Mufti is he's the head of the whole Muslim congregation in the whole country. There will be one person, we call him Mufti. But Mufti is coming to our college. He's going to give some speech. So I think he'll be the great person for you to ask all your questions that you always ask me. So he should have some answers for you, okay?" He's like, "Oh, that's great." Like, so I waited the time until he comes, and he came, and I came to his class, and after the class, I was like, "Hey, I would like to talk to you. I have some questions." He's like, "Okay." So we sat down and talked, and I started asking questions. So what's interesting is, I'm taking it to these days, that God can use a person like him to give me a message. Because I'm thinking right now, wow, God gave me a message through him. Because I asked him all these questions, the same questions I've been asking him. Basically, he gave me kind of similar, same answers. But the one important thing he told me that made me to go the directions that I went today, because he said, "I see you search a lot. I see you ask a lot of questions." And you know what he told me? He says, I'll tell you one thing. He says that search and ask Allah, and He will open it for you. He'll give you the answers. Okay? So I'll just continue searching then. So after that, I kind of gave up and just started continuing with my life, thinking, well, that's all options I have. I better just start living my life and try to do good deeds, and maybe that will be enough for me. Then one day, I come home and I see a book sitting on my kitchen table in my house, my parents' house, and the book says, written on there, a shiny writing says, Injil. I'm like thinking, like, what is that? Is that an angel? I was like, yeah. Then I picked up the book, like, that is an angel. It is a part of that for the 4 books that the surah, the Quran was talking about. Angel, Torah, and Zabur. Angel is, I didn't know at that time, angel is a New Testament. But in our language, we call it, till today, if you go to Central Asia, a lot of people over there call the New Testament angel. And that's the name of it. Angel is the New Testament. It doesn't include the apostles and other stuff, but includes the Gospels about life of Jesus, because Jesus is accepted in Quran as one of the prophets, one of the good prophets that was rejected by people. Because there's a lot. The Quran talks about a lot of other prophets that have been rejected by people. So they said that all these prophets came before Muhammad, and they were all rejected by people, rejected, killed, or whatever. Then the last prophet was Muhammad, and he came with Quran. That's how the Quran talks about. But so the angel, it talks about that particular prophet, which is Jesus. So I found this angel sitting at my kitchen table. I was so curious, so I started asking, like, where does this come from? Then later find out that my dad brought it over. So some of his German friends gave it to my dad. My dad at that time, he traveled to Germany, because a lot of Germans, there was already, when the Soviet Union collapsed, a lot of Germans started moving away from there. They started moving to Germany. So some of his friends invited my dad to visit them in Germany. So he went there and visited them for about a month. And apparently my dad accepted Jesus over there, which we didn't know nothing about it. So he came back, but he didn't know how to tell us about it. He had to tell all of us about it because he was kind of afraid that we're going to reject it. So, but he brought over a book, Angel, that they gave it to him in our own language. So I'm finding this book. I was so excited. I told my dad, "Well, did you brought this?" He's like, "Yeah, I brought it." It's like, I said, "Well, can I have it? Can I read it? Can I read it?" He's like, "I'm sure, if you want to read it." I was like, "Oh yeah," I was so excited. But I'm looking at the book, and it was about this thick. It was very, I'm thinking it was very cheaply made, with very thick pages, thick papers. And that makes it, the whole Testament is about this thick book. I'm looking at it like, I think we might still have that book. Some of my parents might still have that book, but it was really thick. Just for the New Testament, it was like this thick. I'm looking at that book, and I was never a good reader. I hated reading, especially thick books. It terrified me. I looked at that book. I'm like, oh God, it's gonna take me 20 years to read that thing. So what I'm gonna do, I said, well, I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna read the beginning of it, and I'm gonna read the last part of it, and that should tell me what this whole book is about. So I opened up the book, and at that book at the beginning, usually it starts. I think it included the Genesis at the beginning, and how God created everything. So I opened up the first pages, and it did not make sense to me at all. Looking at all these creations and all that stuff, and it was kind of boring too. Okay, so I kind of read a few pages, and I was done with it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to open up the last book, which I opened up the Revelation. So I started reading Revelation. That confused me even more. Like, what the heck is this? What, is that all true? Is that all supposed to happen? How is that all supposed to happen? It's like a fairy tale. And I had even more questions about the book, and I was asking my dad, like, so I don't understand this book. This is all confusing to me. Is there somebody who can explain to me about this book? And my dad's like, yeah, actually, there's somebody I can send you to, and maybe you can ask him. Maybe you guys can talk. And he knew a pastor, a minister who was in a different town, and he was a new pastor that came and started working with local people. He was a Christian pastor. He was a Kyrgyz person with his family who lived in a different town. My dad's like, well, I think maybe it would be good if you go visit him. I never knew him, so my dad just gave me money for a bus ticket and gave me the address. He said, send me off. So I go over there, and I found his house, and I come into his house, and I knock the door, and this guy opens, and I introduced myself to him. I said, I'm this so-so son, and he told me you live here, and that I can ask you some questions about this angel. I was like, oh, sure, come on in. So he let me in. It was kind of interesting. I don't even know him, but he was very nice, very hospitable. So I spent with him all day that day, and I spent a night at his house. Me and him, we talked almost all night. We sat down and we talked, and I asked him all these questions. And we went through like whole book of John. We went through a whole book of like Romans. We talked a lot. And man, he very clearly explained to me how everything goes. I mean, I learned the story about Jesus that day too, through Book of John, who was Jesus and what he did. And I mean, I heard of his name as a Russian god, but I never knew that he was actually a Jewish god. Like, I was like, wow, I thought he was a German Russian god. I don't see any Germans or Russians in that book. Where are they? Yeah, but then I understood, wow, he's a. So then that opened up. I mean, we went through the John 3. That actually answered a lot of my questions too, about where would you go if you die, and all that stuff. And like, wow, that's amazing. I mean, this book clearly tells you what you gotta do if you want to go to heaven. And at the end of our conversation, I still didn't know what to do. I was like, so I was like, well, so I think I understand who Jesus is, and I think I understand what to do, but I don't know how to do it. Should I go find some temple and go do some sacrifices, or do I need to do something special? He's like, no, we can just sit down and pray together right here, and you can just accept Jesus to your life, and there you go. That's it. He's like, I was like, really? That's it? Like, that's simple, because it was never that simple in my previous life. My previous things, if you gotta always do something special. You gotta always do that, do this. You gotta follow the some ceremonies, and you gotta do stuff to earn it. But when he said very simply, you gotta just pray, talk to God like you're talking to me, talk to Jesus, and he'll accept it. I'm like, well, I said, well, I don't know how to talk to God. I mean, I don't think I'm even supposed to talk to God, because in Islam, we always talk to Allah in Arabic language. I never talked to him with my own language, because what I understood when I wasn't supposed to, because it's God-given language is Arabic, and that's the language we're supposed to talk to him. And I always prayed to him, same prayer that I memorized basically. I didn't know what the heck I was saying. I knew some of the words, what I was saying, but I didn't know the long memorization of it that I would read. And then he's like, so I told him, well, so should I supposed to pray to him in Arabic? He's like, no, you pray to him with your own language. Like, okay, I don't know what to say. He's like, well, let's do it this way. I'll pray, and you can repeat it if you want to, or you can add your own things into it if you wish to. If you have something else to say. I said, okay, let's do it. So we both kneeled down and we started praying. And he started praying. I started repeating, and this just went on. We prayed for a while together. And that time, I accepted Jesus, because after a prayer, I stood up and I felt very relieved. I was like, wow, I don't know what just happened, because I feel different. I feel excited. I want to go back to my town and tell everyone everybody's wrong. Right now. He's like, nah, it's okay. Just come down. Let's go sleep. Let's get some rest, and you can go tomorrow. You can do that tomorrow. So okay. So we went to sleep, and we stayed there. The next day, I was so excited. I got my book, my angel, and I traveled back to my own town. And the first day I found all my friends, and I started telling them about it. And they're all standing there looking at me like, what are you talking about? Nobody could understand what I was talking about. All my friends like, are you going crazy or what? Are you talking about the German people's God? Are you talking about Jesus? Yeah, that's all of our God. It's not German people God. It's all of our God. He's like, so I was very disappointed first day, because nobody would accept me. They would actually like really mad at me, calling me that I'm a traitor. You traded your God to German God, and all that stuff. So my first disappointment was basically within first 2 weeks, I lost all my friends. nobody wanted to talk to me anymore. Nobody wanted to spend time with me anymore. So that was kind of disappointing because I wasn't really expecting that kind of a reaction from people. Because I thought, well, if I understood, maybe everybody else can understand. But that wasn't the case. Because people weren't ready really for that. I mean, they couldn't understand what I was saying. So then I continued on. I met a lot of good Christian people in that area. We started having meetings together and started growing, spiritually growing. And God led me through many different situations. And later on, I ended up going to Christian Bible school in a neighboring country, which is Kazakhstan. Some missionaries actually from America here over there. I met them in my country. They helped me out and suggested that I should go to this because I always wanted to serve God. And he said, well, there's a Bible college in a neighboring country. I think it would be good if you go there as a pastoral college preparing new missionary pastors. It was a 2-year class. I mean, two-year school. But I really didn't know how to go there. I said, I don't even have the money to go there. I mean, I thought maybe that college is going to cost me a lot of money to go there. I don't even have money to go to that college. I don't even know where and how and what. And you got to know somebody to get there. But they said, no, we'll help you out. Everything's good. We'll just give you address. I know this person who will help you out. And they gave me a bus ticket and they sent me off. Me and another person. We went over there. We packed up and went over there. And we stayed there. We got there and they just accepted us really well, and they
How old were you at that time?
gave us room. Maybe like 18, 19. I don't know, 19 maybe. I don't know when the college happened, but I went there and I studied Bible seminary. And I always wanted to serve God, and my understanding was I wanted to go somewhere else to serve. And we had after we done with the college, we had an opportunity because that college I wasn't in the college for 2 years. What it is that they made the 2-year class compressed into 6 months. So we basically studied every day from 7 o'clock in the morning till like late that day. All day we were studying. We go through so many things throughout the day. Everything was compact like that. So they said that it was two-year seminary class was supposed to be given in 6 months. So they don't have to hold us there too long. So after we're done, whenever the college was coming to an end, I had an opportunity to go serve in Ukraine. I thought, well, that's the place for me to go. I'm going to go do whatever I'm supposed to do. And but apparently God had a different plan for me. God apparently wanted me to go back to my own hometown, my own area where I come from, to go serve over there. And I didn't know about that. And I was supposed to go back to my town after I finished the college. I was supposed to go back to my town, spend some maybe couple of weeks over there, maybe a month. Then I was supposed to come back and then go to Ukraine. So I won't go back to my town. I stayed there for a few weeks. Then I wanted to go back over there, but nothing really worked out. I couldn't go back. It's just nothing was working out really for me to go back. But apparently God was showing me that there is a different plan for him. He had for me that I would have to serve. I have a ministry in my hometown, in a town called Talas, and I met some other people in Talas, and we started a church ministry, in the town with students. With students, we call that. We started a little groups. I mean, meetings. We played a lot of games, and we started doing ministry. I mean, having a lot of local young people group. Then later on, it became a little bigger church group. We always met in people's houses. Then we had a not just students but older people started joining our group as well. And we started a ministry like that, a church ministry in that town. And apparently that's what God was preparing me for, to do a ministry like that over there. And later Corey came to. She came over there as a missionary, and we met over there like that too. She would come out. I was helping her with the language. Yeah, I was a good translator. I got you out of trouble many times. Trying to sell herself into marriage for a truckload of sheep and cows and stuff like that. Yeah. She was agreeing to something she doesn't even understand what she's agreeing to. And I'm like, what? They're like, oh yeah, she said yes. Like, then I translated, like, you know what she said yes to? Yeah, I had to save her so I could marry her myself. Yeah, well, yeah, so basically from that point, God led me to here. I mean, then we got married and we moved over here. I mean, it's just a short version of it.
That's good.
Wow, that's awesome.
So,
How do you spell that word? Angel or something?
Injil.
Angel? How do you spell it?
In English will be, in English, I don't know. So in our language, it'll be written like this actually. I don't want to write the.
Forgot.
That was like this.
INGIL.
Like this in our language. Like that, but in English I would say, yeah, like she said.
Angel.
Yeah, I've got a Muslim guy I'm writing to all the time, and I want to point him to something. I think that's a grand idea, right?
Yeah. The Injil, Zabur is a Psalms. So it talks about Injil, Torah, and Zabur. Torah is the 5 books of Moses.
Yeah.
Torah. We call it Torah. Then we got a Zabur. Zabur is all the Psalms. And the New Testament.
That's the New
Injil.
Testament.
Well, how long have you been in the States? Like 20, 30?
No, we've been here since 2006. 2006, yeah.
And who taught you English?
God did.
You work for a missionary. He was supposed to be teaching the missionary Kyrgyz, and he ended up learning English.
Yeah, there was a missionary in my town. He's actually from here.
He lives in Waco.
He lives in Hubbard,
Near Waco.
little town near Waco, Hubbard. He's here right now. He's a pastor of the church. But then he served as a missionary with his family over there. So he hired me to teach him a Kyrgyz language, to help him with his language. But he ended up helping me with my English language. I couldn't, I guess.
Yes, that's just an accident.
Amazing. God did not give you peace until you found him.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
And so Russian is the Kyrgyz language?
No, there's a Kyrgyz and there's a Russian. Kyrgyz is different from Russian. The alphabet is the same because our alphabet was changed by Russians.
Yeah.
But the language itself is completely different. Our language is more closer to Turkish-based language.
And then what did the Germans, did they speak German or did
They
kind of
spoke
speak-
Russian.
They spoke
Well,
Russian.
Russian and German.
In German, they spoke to German just among themselves in the inside in the family, but they were kind of in Soviet Union time.
Everybody spoke Russian.
They were afraid German speaking German because I guess they didn't want to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's probably some ill will there between the Germans and the Russians.
Can I ask, what do, Muslim women, look forward to in heaven? Nothing.
I don't know. I
I
really
have
don't know. Because they're not really allowed to go to mosques.
So it just seems to me incredible that there would be a woman defending Islam. And yet you see some of them on TV, but those who are the most eloquent are those who are against it. And, oh boy, I saw one woman on there, I don't know who she was, but they had a mullah on there, on TV, and they were exchanging blows, and she beat that guy to a bloody pulp. He
So
could not
he was
defend himself.
insulted to begin with that a woman was addressing him.
Well, yeah.
Because I know what you're talking about, I saw that.
Yeah, I saw it. I was impressed. I mean, this woman knew more about Islam than the mullah did.
What I understood is the role of the woman in Muslim life is just to serve and help the husband to reach the goal for Allah. So basically, their role is not really to do anything. It's just to serve and have children.
So they don't know what happens to them when they die?
Well, if they did what they're supposed to do, it supposedly brings them to heaven.
But you can't have faith in that because it's not addressed in the Quran. And that is obviously one of the reasons why you were growing Christianity. There are no answers in Islam. The only answer in Islam is that verse in Surah, which directs you to the Torah or the Injil.
See, the Quran, a lot of contradictions in it itself, because beginning, the first part of the Quran, it talks very, very nicely about Christians. The second part of the Quran is basically completely against it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I was confused myself, because at the beginning, it said that the followers of Jesus, basically the Christians are good people. I mean, we should listen to them and we should be in good relationship with them and all that. But later on, in the second half, then it says, oh,
You can't be a friend with a
they're
Christian.
infidels and
They're infidels.
we're gonna kill them and they're no good. It's just kind of weird, because later I understood that apparently the person who was writing it, the Muhammad person who was doing it, apparently at the beginning he wanted the Jews and Christians to accept him as a prophet. But when he was rejected by Christians and Jews, as in not that, no, you're not a prophet, you're not even a Jew, you're Arab, you can't be a prophet. When he was rejected, that basically put his mood against the Christians. That's when he started saying, no, these people.
But he didn't want to do away with what he wrote first, so he left it in there to keep the book thick,
Yeah.
I guess.
Because,
Is the word Jerusalem actually in the Quran?
oh yeah, it talks about it as a Holy Spirit, Holy City that was given by Allah, and it's also a city that kills the prophets. It said that what it is it said that all the prophets came sent by Allah through Jerusalem before, but since the Jerusalem was killed off all the prophets, then God sent him as the last prophet, which is not from Jerusalem.
So, okay, in the ancient text then, was that name actually Jerusalem? Was it Salem?
Well, it wasn't. I don't think it was Jerusalem. I think it had a different pronunciation. I know it was something like Salim.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, Salim. Yeah.
Well, in a way that kind of makes sense, that somebody is doing kind of what our Bible, okay, so you have the Old Testament and the New Testament, and the New Testament pretty much says, well, all that old stuff, all the traditions are no longer necessary. Doesn't say we hate them or anything, it's not necessary. So it seems to me like that Satan then goes, okay, well, let me get this idea. So you have this positive, part. So now let's change it, and it'll be just two separate books, changing what the first one said, just like the Bible changes with the first, the importance, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, I think Satan takes he's an imposter, and he takes what God has done, he twists it a little bit, he perverts it a little bit, and it's in a similar way.
So what I'm thinking is, Muhammad wrote that verse about Torah, Angel, and Zabur. I think that was before he wanted to get a favor from Christians and Jews, because he was including the Torah and Psalms, which is what the Jews studied and they respected. And then he included the Injil, which is the New Testament, which the Christians accepted. The Jews didn't accept that.
Yeah.
Christians accepted. So I'm thinking that part of the Quran is before he was rejected by Jews and Christians.
What is it, how do you spell that, Zabur?
Zabur.
Z-A-B-O-R?
Z-A-B-U-R. U-R.
U-R.
Okay, we'll have to call it